What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Boom Show, building open-minded, optimistic, and motivated teens. I'm your host, Rahz, author of Student Success Secrets. Unlock the 7 secrets for developing inspired, motivated, success-driven teens. You can pick up a copy of that where? On Amazon. If this is your first time viewing the show, thank you so much for being here. Hit that little subscribe button as well as that little bell so you never miss an upload. Today we have an amazing interview with Anton, and Anton's a good friend of mine. I've known him over 10 years. We get into so much in this interview. I can tell you guys we're going to be talking about mindset. We're going to be talking about resiliency, gratitude. He's a father of 2, an amazing individual. He does great work overseas helping people. He's got a heart of gold, and I just can't wait to get into this show. So let's jump right in. As always, boom! What's up, everybody? Coach Rahz here, aka The Motivator. We're back with another The Boom interviews, where we interview inspiring stories, authors, and educators. And today I have my good friend Anton. Anton, how you doing, brother?
Doing well, man. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. You are super busy, I know, doing a lot of things. So I really want to just thank you for some time that you can share some of your insights with our audience. Before we get even started, why don't you just give us a little intake on who Anton is and where you are right now?
Sure. Jump first professionally, just easy to get into it. For the past 15 years, I work as a school psychologist on Long Island in New York. And in addition, it's a high performing high school. So kids who, are at the top of their game academically, athletically, performing arts. And in addition, for the past 15 years, I started a summer cultural immersion program in Ecuador. So for psychologists, social workers, professors to go to Ecuador for a month to live, learn, study, travel. And then I'm also the boys varsity soccer coach here at the high school for like the last 10 years. So I get to apply my sports psychology background. I was fortunate to play college soccer, D1, and we're top 10 in the country. So it's fun to kind of blend my worlds of psychology, sports, motivation, inspiration together. That's just professionally some of the work that I get into now. And personally, I'm the proud son of Judy and Ron Berzins. My mom's from the Caribbean, from Trinidad and Tobago. My father, Ron Veronis, is from Latvia, Eastern Europe. And so it's just great growing up in a mixed in a bilingual household, just a culturally diverse, family, just appreciating people from different backgrounds, different languages, different mindsets. So kind of brought me to where I am today, just trying to be of service to others. And my chosen field was psychology. So.
Awesome. Great story. So your chosen field was psychology, but let's take it back a little bit. When you were either in high school, earlier years in college, how did you overcome some of the challenges that we all have to go through? Was it just instinct, or were you automatically kind of like drawn to psychology and how your mind works?
Sure. Oh man. No, originally I wanted to be a pro soccer player. That was the dream, and that was the pursuit for many years. And got pretty close in terms of playing, Division 1. We're top 10. My buddies, teammates did play in the pros, did play internationally, so it's kind of in the mix. But some injuries and kind of set me back, but also like certain mindset too, to keep getting yourself after injuries to bounce back. It's very taxing, and you got to be really strong. And so sometimes I'd rise to the occasion, and sometimes I wouldn't. And so having kind of that athletic background made me think that I wanted to be like an athletic trainer or a physical therapist. And so it was first being a pro athlete, then being a physical therapist. Then when I realized what I love about physical therapy was that I loved how the trainers would, mold your body, but also mold your mindset, more importantly, to be stronger after your recovery than when you entered into that situation. So that kind of evolved and fell into the field of psychology because of other experiences. But yeah, growing up, I guess a blessing is that I never really was the top in anything, the top student or top athlete or top musician. I always had to just work really hard. And in a weird way, by not having being highlighted as the best of the best, and you just the foundation was that trial and error and working hard, and that kind of served me well later on in life, but I didn't realize it was doing that in the moment. That just, oh, putting in time and effort and being disciplined was my secret to success. But while I was living it, it was pretty frustrating. You don't really know what you're doing until you have time to reflect on it. But so I think it's that some situational, have great role models, great mentors, great coaches, awesome teachers who appreciated me and invested time in me, all helped balance out how.
Outstanding. I love that. So let's just talk a little bit about what, go back to where you said mentors and things like that. Who would you consider has been the biggest mentor in your life for your success?
Oh man, great question. Like there's so many people. I definitely see myself as like a grateful person because I love to pay it forward because I have mentors at each segment of my life, so to speak. Every 5, 10 years, different people made different roles and had different impacts. Of course, like the biggest ones would be my parents. Just gave me a great foundation of love and just total acceptance of whatever I chose to do. They just supported it. So really didn't have pushed back. It was whatever I wanted to do, if it was start a small business or go to school out of state or travel internationally or play competitively, they were just like, yeah, go for it. This is your dream, or this is what I want to study. There was no, hey, you should be really smart about this, or hey, I don't really recommend it. They said, if this is what you want to pursue, go for it. So that worked out really well. But professionally, I got two big guys I actually want to highlight. Dr. Tom Oakland, he's a former professor at the University of Florida, and he created a study abroad program in Costa Rica that I went to maybe 17 years ago. And here was this guy who started my field of school psychology in like 15 to maybe 20 countries. They would hire him to go to a foreign country to start the field. And it's just funny where here he is, like a lifetime award winner in the field of psychology, and he would just mentor and help out graduate students who had really nothing to give him. And he just enjoyed helping people along their way. And he would open up doors and to research and opportunities and publications. And so it's really I had the best mentor in terms of Dr. Oakland in that he wasn't seeking anything in return but your own success. That showed me what a real mentor is.
I love that. I love that. That's such a great story. I've never had the opportunity to have that type of mentor in my life, but I know the value of it, and I've sought out others and through other books and coaches and things like that in my life. Do you see yourself as a mentor right now in the occupation that you've chosen?
Yeah, great question. I call myself a life coach instead of a soccer coach because I realized, one year we could be the championship team and the best team in New York State or the worst team in the state, depending on our record. But thankfully, I don't judge my season or my coaching based off of like wins or losses. Of course, we try to have a standard of excellence and perform well. But it's basically teaching people how to bounce back after failures, how to have, especially working with teenagers, it's an emotional roller coaster. Some days they're energetic and engaging, and other days it could be defensive and argumentative and anxious, and every single day is a different version of themselves. And so if I wasn't a mentor and I didn't have that unconditional support or positive regard for them or acceptance, I would kick them out of my office or kick them off the field because they were hot-headed that day. But a mentor sees the big picture and sees, okay, this is a learning opportunity. And so basically the thing as a mentor, you always ask, hey, what did I learn from this? How can I help the person along the way? Or how do I help them see what they can learn from that situation, good or bad?
Beautiful. We have a lot of parents that are watching, and we're the last 2 years have been very difficult in the world. And, teens, as you said, they are going through, I get to work with teens every day as a teen life coach and as a professional fitness coach. And, I've seen the ebbs and flows of their emotions, happy, sad, and what would you share with a parent who's watching this that has to navigate the ebbs and flows and emotions that teens go through?
Awesome. Great question. Sorry for the bell in the background. Basically, there's maybe two things that come to mind. Yale University has the Center of Emotional Intelligence, and it's a thing called the Ruler Method. And basically, Ruler stands for R. You have to recognize it. There it is. Permission to feel. We are on the same page. That is not planned. Dr. Brackett actually attended his presentations at national conferences, at district level conferences, read the book as well last year. So I gave it a district-wide presentation on that book last year to all faculty, all teachers, to a couple thousand people in our district based off of the foundation of that book. So yeah, the rule method is recognizing emotions, youth understanding emotions, labeling emotions, expressing emotions, and then regulating it at the end. So helping parents to realize that ruler method when presented with a challenge with their children. And then also there's a mood meter that's basically, it says, where's their child's energy? Is it high or low? And their child's level of pleasantness, high pleasantness or low, and it falls into 4 categories. And basically within a quick snapshot, that by asking where their child's energy is and where their pleasantness is, they'll know if their kid is calm or depressed or anxious or angry or actually pretty elated. And so it's important for them to ask these 2 questions to recognize what's going on with their children, to recognize it's not really about what the parents are saying. So don't take it personal, their kids' emotional roller coaster. It's not a reflection of their parenting. It's part of what the navigating the journey of being a teenager or an adolescent. So definitely that would be a few big things to realize. How can they kind of sit with their child's emotions and not try to solve it so quickly or fix it? Just help process it with them and help them understand how did they get there, why did they get there, and they don't need to be so quick to solve. It's great to ask how questions and what questions versus why questions. Like, how did we get here? What can we do? Versus like, why are you feeling this way? Because if you ask why, they could say it 1,000 different ways. Why? Because it's hot, it's cold, boyfriend talked to me, girlfriend dumped me, I had a slice of pizza that didn't sit well. But if you ask, how can I help, or what did we learn, or what's going on here, they'll get more authentic response.
Love that. I mean, and right now, as coming into this school year, I wasn't sure what we were going to be experiencing. And some of the clients that I'm getting to work with are really running into what I kind of see as confidence issues, because they've been home for, maybe 12 months. They missed a lot of school. They've become very social with their phones and not really able to interact with others. What are some of the things that you're seeing people come to your office, or teens come to your office with? What are some of the challenges?
Sure. Just before I answer that, I just want to touch upon what you said about confidence, and it's a great point in that there's a sports psychologist, Michael Gervais from the Seattle Seahawks, who I love, follow, and he has a great way of explaining confidence. And he basically says, I think it's twofold. One is it's about the self-talk, how we talk to ourselves, of course, what the message, what the narrative is. Are we being harsh and critical, or are we being accepting and warm? So basically, how's our talk to ourselves? And then 2, the confidence is based off of experiences that we've already lived. So some people could have fake confidence or fake bravado, and they could hype themselves up to be that guy or that girl or that elite person, but it's based on like a foundation of cards, which isn't real. It's just talk. But the real confidence would come from giving yourself examples of, hey, I've played in tough games before, I've done well on tests before, I've confronted people who might have betrayed me or wronged me or put me in the wrong state. So giving yourself the feedback and the evidence that you've done it before would lead to that confidence. So that's important, especially with anyone I work with. We kind of replay that in terms of they're saying, hey, my confidence is low, or my self-esteem is low, or they may not use the word confident. They might say, I'm out of it, or certain variations of it. But yeah, I mean, that's a great point about confidence, I guess. Traditionally, during this time of COVID, there is a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of not knowing what to expect. And so there's definitely anxieties at play of it's heightened, there are rules or regulations that they may agree with or disagree with, or mandates that they agree with or not. And so because of COVID, it's the idea as human beings, we're social beings and we want to engage and interact with others. And that's like our superpower of where interacting what we're doing now and learning from others. And sometimes as a result of 6 feet distancing or wearing masks, we can't pick up on cues, or we can't engage, or because of appropriate health risks, we can't spend as much time with people in large groups and all these things. So that has been a major factor in how people interact with the world, and has led to depression and anxiety and self-doubt. So yeah, that's the combination at play.
A word from our sponsor. As a parent, it is emotionally draining to see your child suffering from low self-esteem, lacking confidence, and social skills. Rahz and Michelle Slaughter's book, Student Success Secrets, unlock the 7 secrets for developing inspired, motivated, success-driven teens, is a must-read book for every emerging teenager. Purchase a copy today at rahzslaughter.com or amazon.com. It's something I've seen working with our clients, going back to school. We've been really focused on just kind of, like you said, self-talk is one of the key things in one of my chapters in my own personal book, because I really believe that what you say to yourself, you're going to be able to resonate externally or outside. And it's critical to get kids to understand and listen to what they're saying to themselves. Because a lot of times, I have a 17-year-old here. He's playing, on an elite basketball team, and he comes home after making just one turnover, and into the plethora of negative vibes he's sending out. I have to interrupt that instantly. And hey, let's look at what happened. You turned the ball over. You tripped. Okay, did you win? Yes. Did you play well the rest of the game? Absolutely. So let's focus on that as opposed to just focusing on what you did wrong once. And I think that, especially in athletics, is huge. But I love the way you put that together. Great book. As I highly recommend you guys pick up Permission to Feel. Absolutely. Tell me, right now, in school, you're able to see both sides but academically, are kids thriving or just surviving right now throughout this pandemic?
Great point. That it kind of falls into my research of resilience, where it says, you don't want to just survive, you want to thrive, and a cool buzzword with resilience, they say you have to navigate your way towards resources and then negotiate. So it's 2 parts. First, you have to navigate and find the resources. And then when you actually find them, you have to negotiate what makes the most sense for you. Or they say it another way, we have to have resources available to us, and then we actually have to access them, And so for students and for parents, and seeing different sides of the coin. Basically, the idea is relationships is always the single most important thing towards bouncing back from challenges, feeling that you have someone who's got your back, you feel like someone can hear you out. So when there's a conflict, it's always got to go down to that mentorship or relationship, whether it's with a coach, a teacher, a parent, is always the number one thing. Yeah. So if you could
no worries.
Get lost in the thought.
Absolutely. Just basically, I see a lot of kids right now. I don't believe they're thriving. They're just getting by. And parents are pushing. They haven't changed their paradigm. They're just kind of you got to go out. You got to get good grades. You should have this on your SATs, your ATs. And kids, this is a whole new world. What are you seeing? Do you think they're thriving, or are they just getting by and surviving?
Sure. Unfortunately, it seems that they're definitely more in survival mode right now. And they'll be the first ones to admit that they're kind of passing time, waiting until, for the kids who are in juniors or seniors, when they get to go to college, they're hoping for the traditional normal that they were used to, or it just seems that a lot of things are pressed pressed pause or on hold. And as you already know, there's the fight or flight response, and there's also freeze, a third category when given a situation. And it seems like a lot of students that I work with are stuck and are frozen, where they maybe in the past they would have taken more examples or taken more risk or taken more advantage of more opportunities. And now they would say, I would have tried out for that club, but there's a lot of people, so I'll just go at home. Or, I don't want to put myself in this situation that I don't know the outcome of, so I'll just stay back, stay at home. So a lot of them are retreating, unfortunately, and so it's definitely definitely been a marked change for the past 2 years in terms of a lot of people who I've been working with. So hopefully, little by little, they'll, everyone will find their way. But on the whole, definitely see a lot of folks who've been kind of pressed pause in their lives.
Wow. That's so profound because I get to see it at home. My son, he went through pretty much, ninth, 10th were grade were easy. 11th was kind of up in the wind. He was home. He was in school. We're in Florida. So he was in school, but he was wearing a mask. They didn't get to see that, that body language, that feedback to when they're in their communication. And I found that it was definitely made him very kind of step back. And I didn't use the word that you used, but now it's clear. He froze. He was frozen in what should he do? Where should he apply to college? And I'm thankful that he's already applied, accepted. We've kind of got through that, over that hump. And I've seen him turn the corner. But really, the reason he turned the corner was because we've worked really hard on his belief systems at home, letting him know that this too shall pass. The future is going to be bright. We always are going to have some setbacks that are going to lead to some amazing comebacks. It's been my entire life. And I'm glad that I get to mentor him and share those insights, but not a lot of kids get that. And that's one of the reasons that I'm pushing this new initiative that I have, is because I believe that it comes down to your belief system, your attitude, and self-talk. When you put those together, you can really build resilient kids that are going to be able to get through things, come over obstacles, and turn them into opportunity. And I've seen over the last couple of years of working with teens that they're, like you said, they're frozen. They don't want to take risk. And how do we, as influencers of these teens, get them to make that shift so that they start to see fear and do it anyways?
Yeah, that's great. I mean, it's so much to unpack, So it's wonderful, that your son has you, of course, as that real world example in house, has an in-house professional and someone who's lived it and can share those examples, And so, not every parent needs to, have the same, tools or trainings as ourselves. I would say just be authentic. Everyone's got their own story, their own narrative, and they could.
Yes.
I think when parents share that, hey, I was in your position as well. I had countless setbacks, countless opportunities when I froze. So they don't create this hero image of their parents of always succeeding and always, living that dream lifestyle, but saying, oh, you're seeing me now, but you're not seeing how much it took, how many steps I had to, engage in to be at this point. And so kind of being human, permission to being human and saying, oh my God, and sharing your vulnerabilities, sharing your failures, sharing, oh my God, I learned some tough lessons. And, I'm just trying to help that you don't learn as many tough ones and you can learn from me. So for parents who are ever listening, share your authentic stories, share your vulnerabilities, share your, the stories that, life really, those tough lessons that life, taught you along the way. But yeah, I mean, basically in my world, the idea is awareness and action. We have to be aware of what's happening and then we can act upon it. And so the idea of folks who are stuck, the idea is when they recognize, hey, not taking a leap socially or emotionally or athletically or physically or spiritually or whatever arena of their life they feel stuck in, relationships, one, being aware of it, and then two, being aware of the impact it has on their life. Like they're preventing them from having that relationship or joining that team or being stronger or faster or kinder or smarter, whatever version of themselves they want to be, and how that's preventing them, and actually using that fear and that pain as that motivator. By, hey, wow, I'm really missing out on these key opportunities and I could play it safe, but look where playing it safe has gotten me the last year, 2 years, 3 years. And that's the unknown of if I am willing to put myself out there and, follow someone who's actually done it, and then there's a path to follow. So that's that action piece. And what the action piece is actually saying, there has to be small, manageable steps. There's a quote that I like, and it's basically like, small progress is better than ambitious failure. So versus saying, I'm going to, walk across America and fail because you don't even do it. You stop saying, hey, every day I'm just going to walk for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 20 minutes, and having that consistency and building up your base then you strengthen your decision-making muscle, then you become more, then your willpower increases, then you're willing to take more risks. So twofold: be aware of what's happening, be aware of how it's negatively impacting you, use pain, and do really, really small goals that are targeted, and hopefully following someone who's actually done it already. You know, you don't have to recreate the wheel. There's so many countless people who've done what we want to do, and the blueprint is already there for us.
Does your child lack confidence, social skills, or motivation? Rahz Slaughter is a sought-after teen life coach, motivational speaker, and 20-year professional coach. He welcomes the opportunity to coach your teen on a one-on-one basis or as one of his students in his online groups. Rahz's coaching system will help your teen boost their confidence, improve their communication skills, and gain clarity about who they are and how they can reach their full potential in school, sport, and life. To learn more about the coaching programs or to schedule a consultation, call 1-800-509-9383 or visit us at our website at rahzslaughter.com. If you mention the Boom Show, you'll receive 10% off the coaching program that you enroll your child. I love that. I mean, awareness and action, really simple. You know, you got to be aware. And I talk a lot about self-awareness, knowing thyself. Who am I? What do I want? What are my interests? What are my values? And I'm privileged to have the opportunity to use a personality assessment that really allows to dial into specifically what are your strengths, your weaknesses, or your limitations and needs and wants. And when a child can have that type of tool or resource in front of them, it makes the navigation of, okay, I like this person, relationships, communication, so much better. So, and I agree with you. Small actions, building it to that success is awesome. Anton, I'd like to get into what are you working on right now? Because I know you're always like, you believe in Kaizen like myself, constantly and always improving. I'd love to hear a little bit about what you're working on right now and where you're at with that stage.
Sure. I got a lot of projects actually going on. I'm trying to figure out which one. I'll start.
Too many in the fire, right?
I'll start far and work back, maybe. Let's see. There's basically two books I'm working on right now. Basically, one book is I asked my father, who's 95 years old, and my son is 5 years old, and I learned my father's 95, doesn't like being told what to do. My 5-year-old doesn't like being told what to do. So I basically have the joke of like, nobody likes being told what to do in life. Everyone more or less follows their path, so to speak. But I'm asking him a question a day for a year, and we're about maybe 7 months or so into it, and just hearing his perspective and just recording that. And it's just more strictly a personal project, especially at he's later on in his life, and he's lived a full life of overcoming, you know, so many challenges. He was born during World War II, and he survived German occupation and Russian occupation, and lived through poverty, lived through so many things to find his way, and eventually he moved to Canada and lived there for 10 years, and he was working. He didn't speak a word of English, and he was actually working in like a lumberjack in the middle of the forest, in the woods, chopping trees to make small money to bring over his family out of safety. So he's got this history of like resilience, and he later became an engineer and did really well with real estate. So he had this beginning that wouldn't show that he'd be successful because of all the hardships, but here he is. So that's one project, just a fun project for myself. Another project, a book that I'm writing, is all these lessons that I learned from a mentor, a psychologist who mentored me early on in my career. And I'd go to him every week for about 5-6 years. And every week I'd say, here, this is a challenge with a case. What would you recommend? And I didn't care what I brought to him. I was so blown away by his insights of being in the field for 40, 50 years that I have like religious notes for 5 years of all of his insights. And I'm basically summarizing like on relationships, on conflicts, on parenting, on Kaizen, of being a lifelong learner, of travel, like, and so I have all these insights that I just want to streamline. And so that's also maybe like 70% done, like maybe 150 pages in as well. And then I continue my work in Ecuador, which is basically always, basically we have 20 to 30 graduate students, professors coming each year. We have a connection with University of South Carolina because their professors joined my program as participants, and now they have a grant where I've connected them to different like ministries of education, Ministry of Public Health in Ecuador to offer a rating scale so schools can identify kids who might be at risk early on for anxiety and depression or behavioral problems, emotional challenges. So just helping them have like early intervention services in Ecuador that they didn't have and that at the national level. So it's cool to have a major university in the States connecting to Ecuador, and it's just strictly pro bono, strictly just helping people out, just to pay it forward. So that's a pretty big international project. Let's see, and I mean it goes down to this idea of self-mastery, as we say, and one of our mutual friends is a Wim Hof instructor who does cold ice baths and cold training.
I was getting there. Yes, go for it. Great transition.
Yeah, no, just that idea for myself of trying to always read, always learn, always push your limits, always put yourself in uncomfortable situations. And with all these projects, it's pushing our limits to seeing like what's the best version of ourselves we can get. And so whether it's professionally, as a husband, as a father, just as someone who likes to be active, just finding these challenges.
I love it. So tell me about, I want to jump into the Wim Hof because I saw you in the ice bath and I thought, you know what? I understand the theory. I moved to Florida to get really far away from the cold as possible. And I'm thankful that I don't have to do that at all. What was that experience like? Was that the first time you actually did it? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I enjoy surfing. So for like 20 plus years, I surfed, and only a few years, I call myself like a seasonal surfer. In the summer or early fall, when it's relatively ideal conditions, the weather is warm, I'm out there. But sometimes we have, in New York, the best waves we have are actually in the winter during like hurricane season. But it's cold, it's freezing, there's snow on the ground. It's not faint in the heart.
It's miserable.
100%. Call it what it is. It's not ideal. It is miserable. But in the summer, there might be 100 guys surfing the break, and in the winter, there's 10 guys. So meaning you have more opportunities, more waves, better quality waves. But the only difference is the temperature of the water is what keeps out people. And so basically, like the last 2 years, I got into year-round surfing because I said, you know what, like, why am I not putting myself in this position to enjoy these waves just because of my fear of the cold? And so the idea of the Wim Hof method, who's basically trains you with different deep breathing techniques, yoga techniques, focusing on the present, all through cold water ice baths or variations of that. And so, yeah, that was my first time actually taking this course or initial course, and I plan to continue and take ice baths now, maybe about 3-4 weeks in a row now. And I feel that it's working. I don't know if it's like a placebo effect, but I'm enjoying it. And yeah, so it's you put yourself in a situation that's uncomfortable, that's miserable. You know it's cold, you know it's miserable, and but yet you have to control and balance your emotions and your anxiety and stay present. And it does a great job of it. So I'm a huge fan of it. I'd recommend it, even if you're in Florida. Or the next time you come to New York, I'll have to make you join me on one of these ice baths. And for your viewing audience, we'll have it go live. So I'll call you out right now.
I like that accountability and putting me out there, but I've thought about it. I can't even take cold showers. I actually tried that. I did the 75 hard, and the second phase is like you have to take a cold shower. And I'm thinking, it's not even cold, and I'm freezing. But I definitely will try. I know the benefits of it and the method.
There's apparently a whole host of them, but yeah. So it's just that idea, like for yourself, you're always engaged in something new, like this program and pushing your limits. And so I know we're speaking the same language of self-mastery.
Absolutely. We're going to land the plane because I know your time is valuable, and I really want to ask you this final question. You're a father of a son. He's 5 now, right? And what if he was watching this video? what are the top 3 success principles that you want to instill in him so that he can pass on for generations to generation?
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, my son is 5. I have a daughter who's 1.5 as well. So shout out to my kids who keep a whole other element of our life, is where that, it could have external success or professional success, but it's got to be both. It's got to be taking care of home and having date night weekly with my wife as well to make it a priority. So I'm not so naive to think that I just want outside awards or outside acclaim. It's got to take care of your home base, number one.
Beautiful.
Everything outside. I definitely think my maybe 3 pillars would be gratitude has to be number one. I say count my blessings every day. I literally just invited in Huff University's Positive Psychology Institute yesterday or the day before. They spoke to our whole 1,000 kids at our school. They're speaking to all of our parent community next week and all of our staff next week. And I basically spearheaded this project because they start with that idea of gratitude as being like a superhuman aspect to ourselves, or a most powerful drug on the planet is gratitude, of counting our blessings because it's related to improved health, improved relationships, better decision making, so countless physiological responses as well. So there's countless medical health benefits to that. So one would be gratitude, and we actually do it every day. I have my son count his blessings, and it's kind of cute seeing a 5-year-old. He's thankful one day for his toys or for a movie or getting candy, and it's cool. I don't make it about a family or larger esoteric things. Like, no, what's in his world is that he got a Batman costume, and that's what he's grateful for. And so, or he had a play date, he said yesterday. So just respecting that. So gratitude would be definitely number one. I'd like to think that I pride myself on being pretty resourceful. So meaning that you don't always have to have the right answers. You don't always have to be the best, but you have to be willing to find the answer. And that means asking for help, or that means doing the research and doing the work. So I definitely pride myself on saying, you don't have to be the best or anything like that. You just have to see, let me find solutions. And so being more solution focused. So that would definitely be the number 2 thing I would want to hit home. And I guess the next idea is openness. In that, open to learning, open to new cultures, open to new experiences, new foods, new people, where I've learned in my work, people who are open-minded, they're the best people to be a part of. They know there's no limit. They know there's always something to learn. They're not entitled, they're not arrogant, they're not condescending. Someone who's very open-minded, it will sit with you, will engage with you. And so if I could share that, I did my job and then some. So,
ding! Awesome, brother. I love it. Let's so if someone's watching this, would love to connect with you, learn more about you, supporting the programs and projects that you're working on. Where's the best place for them to kick it with you and reach out?
Sure. Pretty low key with that respect. I'll give you my personal email. It's just anton.berzins@gmail. So ANTON.Berzins, BERZINS @gmail.com. They could reference my work in Ecuador via our website, www.EcuadorPPP.com. So it's Ecuador Professional Preparation Program.com for the international work. And yeah, either of those arenas works well. I mean, I have the related social media, Facebook, Instagram pages attached to those sites as well. But yeah, and I'd love to engage with your audience.
Well, thank you so much, my man. I really do appreciate your time. As always, be grateful, stay positive, and live with passion. My name is Coach Rahz, aka The Motivator. This has been another The Boom Show, building open-minded, optimistic, and motivated teens. We'll see you in the next episode. Boom!